Hi, I'm Jochen, founder of ValueFocus. We help B2Bs unlock the Salesforce CRM potential and enable them for continued success. Few customer stories. World's Finest Clubs from Switzerland was able to grow bookings by 50% without adding headcount. So now every year they're saving around 150,000 Swiss francs, euros, because we automated processes on Salesforce instead of them hiring more people to do the manual work they did before. Dashboard, SaaS scale up from the Netherlands. They were considering switching to another CRM before we realized together that they only used a fraction of the capabilities. So within weeks, we streamlined sales and renewal processes, also removing countless hours of admin for the entire executive team. Stadtwerke Olching, which is a utility company from Germany, they were new to Salesforce. They used Excel before. To track sales and support activities. We implemented Salesforce within weeks despite COVID and the holiday season and trained the people, and they were very surprised what we can do for what can be achieved with Salesforce for such a small organization. They have less than 10 licenses. Why am I mentioning that? Most CRM projects fail. That's not my opinion. That's what Harvard Business Review says. And they mentioned 3 recommendations how to avoid that. Based on our experiences, please feel free to Google that article. Based on our experiences, we identified 10 reasons that we use as a guiding principle in order to avoid, of course, failure and make our customers successful. These were developed based on working at Salesforce for 4 years in the HQ. So I talked personally with hundreds of Salesforce prospects or customers, and also engaging with partners. Then ValueFocus is then the official Salesforce implementation partner that I started, and we've done 35 implementation projects over the last years across industries, across markets, and we came up with these 10 reasons. I'm not going to mention all of them. I'm just going to highlight 3. What is very, very important is that you focus on business objectives, and do not neglect them. Don't ask yourself what you can do with Salesforce, ask what you should do. And that starts with usually identifying business objectives and then moving backwards to the required functionality in Salesforce. Not just think, oh yeah, well, because we can do something in Salesforce doesn't mean we should, right? That is important. Then, not approaching CRM in phases, wanting too much at once. Way too many times, companies who've been also using Salesforce for a while, but maybe in a very basic manner, want to go from one extreme all the way to another. We had no automation. We used only a fraction of the capabilities. Now we want to do all of it within a very short period of time. And that usually won't work, because not so much because of technical implementation challenges. It's more stakeholder management and requirements gathering. And because for every new process, you need to talk to people, talk to decision makers, understand the process, how it should be. And that is the main factor why CRM projects oftentimes take longer than they should, because you're not clear about your business objectives and then move backwards, and then it drags on forever. And the last one I want to mention here is not developing internal knowledge, consultancy lock-in. You need to own your tools, meaning you need to be able to do basic things in Salesforce, like basic administration, like reporting, running reports, dashboards. You can't rely on us or anyone else to do that for you. You want to really avoid a consultancy lock-in. Okay. So, what does that mean? How should you go about this? CRM projects can be daunting, and there are different options that you can go. You can self-implement. Okay. You can do a partner implementation, and now you can also do value-focused packages. What I'll explain in a second. Let's start with self-implementation. If you don't want to spend 50 grand on let's say 50 grand or 30 or 100 on a partner implementation, where you usually also managed by a junior resource if you don't spend 100,000. You can also do self-implementation. You can say, well, this can't be rocket science, so I can figure that out. So in the self-implementation route, you have three options. You can go on Trailhead. It's a free learning platform from Salesforce. You need to know your way around, and you have no support. That's the first one. The second option is that you send one of your employees to a 5-day administrator course where they learn the ins and outs of being a Salesforce administrator. And they pass an exam at the end of the 5 days, cost you $5,000 in total, roughly. And if you have someone who can dedicate the time and also is able to learn the theory and apply it to your business, then that's good. And the third option is what I did in 2012 in a startup. I implemented Salesforce for the first time. I had no idea what I was doing. There was no Trailhead around. I just Googled around. I watched YouTube videos. But I simply didn't know what I didn't know. So I made a lot of mistakes. And that's one of the key things that we see with companies who've been using Salesforce for a while. That is just basic mistakes in the initial implementation, which are very costly later on. Because you need to migrate data again, change the data model, change the processes, and it's usually not necessary if you start right and then go from there. So, but again, why would you do that? CRM, most people would agree, it's important to centralize your customer data, but that's not everything. So our approach always has been to really focus on business value. And business value is just a fancy term for basically saying, is it helping us increase revenue or increase productivity? That's what it comes down to. And the way we can do this, we do this with our customers, is grow revenue without adding headcount. Okay, so you grow revenue faster than you're adding headcount. So you're making your existing sales team more efficient, more effective. The second one is to shorten sales cycles, which is a huge challenge oftentimes in smaller organizations. You need to be able to identify the ideal sales process and replicate that across the organization. Meaning, what are the steps that every sales rep needs to follow from first lead to from the lead to the closed opportunity in order to maximize the chances of success. And again, do that repeatedly, and regardless if your sales rep is started 2 years ago or another one started 10 years ago. Then increase productivity, of course. Salespeople are paid to spend time with customers, not to do admin. So you should let Salesforce handle the repetitive tasks. And then continuously improve. You need to identify winning behavior, replicate that across the sales team, and also identify areas of improvement before it's too late. Otherwise, you can't just wake up on Christmas and say, well, we don't have enough pipeline for January. Then it's usually too late. Okay. So how do we go about this, you might ask? We, based on all the projects that we've done, we saw patterns. We did workshops with many customers, and we saw that every company sales team needs a similar foundation. Of course, the nuances change, but there should be a process, repeatable process, also in the project delivery on our side. So we brought our experiences and put that into packages, which you can subscribe to monthly. And we have 3 different ones. The Kickstarter is more like a CRM bootcamp for companies who want to invest their own time to self-implement, but want guidance and support. Okay, so we put all our learnings into an on-demand training portal, and someone with no prior experience in Salesforce or CRM can follow that, and they get email support. And what we did was we took these big projects. The last small project we had was 30 grand. And we democratize the access to this because I firmly believe that smaller companies should have access to this information as well and should leverage the technology that is at their fingertips. If they just would do it right, they have tremendous growth opportunities. So first activity, business objectives. And this is, again, all outlined in detail in the training portal that we have. Executing the technical implementation, it's all outlined there in video form that you can follow in your own time, and then manage the change, which is very important because what usually happens in other CRM projects is that then a 1 or 2 hour enablement session is at the end of the project. But you need to be independent of partners to a certain degree. You need to learn the things, and that it's not sufficient to do a 1 or 2 hour session at the end. You have to be part of the implementation process. So that is very important here. Then Kickstarter, we have next one is an Accelerator. That's like, okay, well, you have everything of the Kickstarter, but then the company is told as well, that's great, but we don't have the resources. We can't invest the time. We want you to do some parts of it. So we have web sessions to gather requirements, and then we have developer resources, okay, to implement it for you. And then we have the Scaler, which is for more advanced requirements when companies need interim project leads, dedicated developer support resources in order to get the most out of their Salesforce setup. Check out our resources here, our FAQs. And if you want to grow revenue, if you want to get the most out of Salesforce, either you are an existing Salesforce user or you're new to Salesforce and you want to start in a lean manner to grow revenue, to increase productivity, then get in touch with us, check out the package that you're interested in, book a call, and we'll see you there. And looking forward to talking to you. Cheers.